Hello and welcome back to my channel. Recently I've been getting a lot of questions regarding lightsabers, whether that be on YouTube or TikTok, and so I felt like maybe I should take some time to do my research and kind of construct a very informational video for those wanting to get to know more about lightsabers. The issue is that there's a lot to know and there's many different types of lightsabers. So I've decided that I'm going to try to do a probably series, at least on lightsabers. I'm probably going to include it in a playlist that I have titled called Informative. So for those wanting information on lightsabers, you guys can use that playlist as kind of a guide for those wanting to know more. And this is my second time making this video because I did not like how the first one turned out. As you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking mainly about baselit lightsabers. Now again, this video is going to be pretty much everything that you need to know about baselit lightsabers. So be sure to strap in if you need to maybe take notes, or maybe you just want to know some answers to the common questions regarding baselit lightsabers. This video will answer them. And the frequently asked questions that I'm going to be answering within this video, which in my opinion are the ones that are always asked and are probably the most important, which is why they're asked, is number 1, what is a baselit lightsaber? Number 2, what are baselit lightsabers used for? Number 3, where is the cheapest place you can find a baselit lightsaber for a decent price? And then number 4, what are my recommended lightsaber resellers for baselit lightsabers? So the first question is, what are baselit lightsabers? Baselit lightsabers, they're also called in-hilt LEDs. So when you're shopping for baselit lightsabers and you see in-hilt LEDs, just know that they're pretty much the same thing. So don't get confused by the different name. They're going to be the same thing. Baselit lightsabers are simply just colored flashlights. So I have a baselit lightsaber right here. This has lasted me for almost a year. It's working completely fine. It's amazing. But as I turn it on, I have the sound off, but it's just a flashlight. So there's no, I'm gonna turn it off real quick. There's no sensitive electronics on the inside. It's hard to see with the reflection of my lighting in the back. But you can just see the end of a flashlight. It's pretty much just a flashlight. And a baselit lightsaber pretty much is just this flashlight right here with this empty hollow tube that just sticks on, that screws into place. I'm not going to screw it on, but for demonstration purposes, turn it on and it turns on the blade. Well, the light really just shines down the blade, but as you can tell, it gets super bright right here because the light's shining closest to the actual light source, and as it goes down the tube, it's going to get dimmer. That is pretty much the main visual indicator of what a baselit lightsaber really looks like in person. The blade color is going to be a lot dimmer at the end compared to the very base of the lightsaber. That's pretty much a baselit lightsaber. It's just a colored flashlight. And again, baselit lightsabers, they can come in any color. I have another one. It's also in black. It also was from Art Sabers that was gray, but I had to change the hilt out as well. It's in red. And I can change the colors on them real quickly. And baselit lightsabers can be pink. It could be the blue, the light blue. It's like a white, yellow, orange, magenta, another pinkish color, light blue, another pink color. But there's a ton of colors, green, red. But yeah, that's pretty much a baselit lightsaber. It's just a flashlight with a tube on it. So it's pretty simple. They're probably the best and most budget-friendly lightsaber when it comes to the, I'm gonna call it alternative lightsabers to the Disney lightsabers and the Hasbro lightsabers, because in my opinion, they're not that great. And I mean, baselit lightsabers you get the duel with, but we'll get into that in the next question, which is, what are baselit lightsabers used for? Now, as I just mentioned, baselit lightsabers are typically used for when you're getting into lightsaber spinning or flourishing, and they're also used for dueling or maybe stunt work. Um, so baselit lightsabers are the go-to for spinning because of how light they are. With a baselit lightsaber, you just have the electronics in the hilt, and then you have a very empty, hollow tube that just goes on it. Whereas what I'm gonna call the step up from the baselit lightsaber, a neopixel, you have the electronics in the hilt, and then you also have the added weight of the electronics inside of the blade. And that's what separates the baselit from a neopixel, is that the neopixels has LEDs inside the blade that add weight to it, thus making them heavier, which would mean that lightsaber spinning would be a bit more difficult because of the weight. So the weight distribution might be out of proportion in comparison to like a baselit lightsaber. And also, baselit lightsabers are the go-to for spinning because of how safe it is for the lightsaber itself. So I mentioned how it can be heavy on you when spinning a neopixel, and the heavier it is, the harder it might be to control, or maybe if you want to do like a lightsaber throw and like catch it, it might be a bit harder and you might drop the lightsaber and you could damage the electronics. With a baselit lightsaber, it's just a flashlight with a tube. The tube has no electronics actually built within the blade, so even if you were to drop it, there's a pretty good chance that there's going to be no damage to the electronics. It's going to be working completely fine. The only way to really damage a baselit lightsaber is if you're slamming it on purpose to intentionally break it. Baselit lightsabers, they're like the greatest for spinning, and I mean they can change colors, so you don't have to buy like legacy lightsabers. They can only have one color, but with baselit lightsabers you get to have several colors. So that's a pretty cool thing about them. Alternatively, baselit lightsabers could also be used for decoration. So maybe you just want to display hilts. Maybe you don't even want the blade. You don't care about lightsaber spinning or dueling. They are really good hilts for display because not only can you have a character's lightsaber on display, you can even turn it on to like shine a light. And I mean, that's a pretty cool, like, I guess, display feature. And then of course, baselit lightsabers are used for dueling. So like I said, there's no electronics within the hilt, so blade on blade contact, you're not going to be damaging any LEDs inside the blade. You're not going to be damaging anything. You're just hitting a plastic hollow tube against one another and nothing is going to be damaged. So it's probably the best option for dueling. Neopixels you can duel with, but it's very not recommended. You can do light dueling with it pretty easily. Medium dueling, I'd be very careful. And hard dueling, you are a brave person to duel with the neopixel. Baselit lightsabers are great for dueling, and of course they're great for spinning. Most videos when you see on TikTok of people spinning lightsabers, or even if you see it on like YouTube shorts, when people are spinning lightsabers really fancy, typically it's a baselit lightsaber, just because if they were to drop a neopixel, they might have to pay a decent amount to replace it or fix it. But we're going to move on to the third question now, which is, where is the cheapest place to find baselit lightsabers? Now, baselit lightsabers, I'm only going to talk about the common baselit lightsabers, the ones that you're mainly going to see online. They're made by these parent companies that are based in China. There are two companies I want to talk about, which is LGT and TXQ. Both companies are amazing. They mass produce lightsaber hilts and electronics, blades. They're like the ones that a lot of companies resell, which I'll get into that as well. But they make these lightsabers at a mass rate, and they sell them for a pretty cheap price. And they're actually pretty well made. But to look for LGT and TXQ products, the cheapest place is going to be on Alibaba and AliExpress, where they sell typically in bulk on Alibaba, but on AliExpress you can pretty much buy individually. First, I'm going to go over AliExpress. On AliExpress, I'm going to say you want to buy LGT products on AliExpress, mainly because I think that they're just priced better, especially for like their baselit lightsabers. I personally think LGT baselit lightsabers are better than TXQ. However, I've never owned a TXQ baselit, so I cannot say definitively, but from what I've seen, I think LGT baselit lightsabers are better. So if you are shopping for baselit lightsabers, I'm always going to recommend AliExpress to shop on LGT. There is another company called Damien Saber, and I believe they're pretty much the same company. LGT and Damien Saber, they're the exact same. Or they just work really closely together, but I'm pretty sure they're the same company. Just two different names. On AliExpress, when you buy from LGT or Damien Saber, their electronic cores, most of them are interchangeable. So if I wanted to, let's say, buy another baselit lightsaber or make another baselit lightsaber, I can take out the electronics in this hilt itself, where I can unscrew the screws on the back and just slide the electronic core out. And maybe, let's say, this is a perfect example too. I have this empty hilt right here. The button pattern on the outside, they match each other perfectly. I'm gonna call them the generic hilts or the non-character based hilts. Most of them can be interchangeable. So I can literally take the electronic core in this hilt and put it into this one and just stick a blade on it and power it on, and I have now a different baselit lightsaber just with a different hilt. So that's why I prefer LGT. Also, like, not only because I think their baselit lightsabers are just better, but just because you can swap the parts and they're pretty much interchangeable. So another example real quick I'll show. Some of the parts can just be taken off of the hilt. So I can take the top of the emitter of this hilt and I can put it onto the top of this hilt, I think. Right? Yeah. Had to be sure. So my hilt, it will look funny because this emitter isn't really supposed to be for this type of lightsaber hilt, but as you can see, it just screws on and it fits. Now, of course, it looks wonky, but there are other emitters I could put on here from LGT and it just fits on well. I have this gold one in the background. The top of that emitter can fit onto this perfectly fine. So yeah, that's another plus about LGT. I believe TXQ, their hilts are also similar. It's just I prefer the electronics of LGT over TXQ from what I've seen online. Now for TXQ, you can buy them on AliExpress and you can it would probably be okay, but I believe you're overpaying a bit more if I'm not mistaken. I think, at least when it comes to the character lightsabers, for like the NeoPixels, I believe AliExpress has them priced a bit higher compared to Alibaba. So I believe Alibaba is cheaper, but AliExpress, you can buy individually. So on Alibaba, when it comes to baselit lightsabers, and this goes for the non-character hilts, you can only buy them in bulk. So I believe the minimum order is like 10, and you have to buy 10 of them. Before you can even place an order just for one of the hilts, you have to buy 10, like minimum. On AliExpress, you can buy them individually, but you're probably going to be paying a bit more, which is why I'm going to recommend LGT when it comes to AliExpress. On Alibaba, when you're buying baselit lightsabers, when it comes to the actual character lightsabers from maybe your favorite Star Wars movie or TV show, you can buy those individually and actually get it at a good price. But if you're wanting a generic hilt, don't go to Alibaba, go to AliExpress. If you're wanting a character's hilt that's a baselit lightsaber, go to Alibaba and not AliExpress, and you could probably get it cheaper on Alibaba compared to AliExpress. Enough talking about both those companies. I'm going to move on to the fourth and final question, which is, what are my recommended lightsaber resellers for baselit lightsabers? Because lightsaber resellers can be good, but just know that lightsaber resellers are not going to sell it at the same price as the parent company because they're resellers. They're going to charge a higher price for the product because they got to make a business, you know, they got to make money. But there are companies that will take advantage of that, and they'll have good marketing and they'll say that they're the best reseller, or look at these cool lightsabers that can do all these effects. And then you look at the price and you're like, dang, that's really high, but I guess that's what it's worth, so I'll pay it. But there are resellers that do price them reasonably, which is what I want to talk to you guys about, because I want you guys to at least know some lightsaber resellers that you can trust, that I can trust. And I hope that you can feel that buying their products isn't a waste of money and you're getting the most out of your money. So I'm going to first start off with resellers in America because that is where I'm from, and those resellers I have the most experience with, which is only one of them, but I do trust them. The first lightsaber reseller that I am going to talk about is Crimson Dawn. Now, Crimson Dawn is an LGT reseller in Texas Crimson Dawn is an LGT reseller in Texas that has a pretty decent variety. Crimson Dawn is also one of the rare companies that I have seen that modify their hilts. So they'll buy it from Alibaba, and once they receive it, they have an option on their store where you can buy the Crimson, like, upgraded version. I don't know the exact name for the basic lightsaber. I know for NeoPixels, when it comes to like a Xenopixel, they call it the Crimson Neo Core, and I think they have like the Crimson Profi Core. But this is what the electronics of a basic lightsaber looks like, by the way. I have my camera on manual focus, so I can't really put it really close to the camera. But it's just an electronic board and like a battery on the back. Crimson Dawn can take the electronics and swap them out or upgrade them to just be better, to maybe add different sounds to them, or maybe make them sound better. But they pretty much just offer better electronics for like a slightly higher price, which I actually like. I do like that they're not just reselling it, they're actually putting their own spin to it as like a separate option, but you can buy the original product that they bought from Alibaba in the first place. I have bought only one real product, is what I'm gonna call it, from Crimson Dawn, and it was their Crimson Neo Core, which was a Xenopixel that was modified by Crimson Dawn. And it's amazing. It even has a volume control, which normal LGT products do not have. It has a high, low, and mute setting, but Crimson Dawn, you can actually get actual number values. So you could set it to volume 10, volume 2, volume 5. So that was a pretty neat feature, and that's why I think I can trust them, because they're pretty good, and I actually didn't pay a stupid price. Like, I didn't feel like I was getting scammed for the amount I was paying. What I was paying was what I felt that product actually deserved. So that was pretty nice. I do buy saber stands from Crimson Dawn just because they're priced pretty cheap, and I mean, I can get them pretty soon. So my Darth Maul hilt right here off to the side, this saber stand came from Crimson Dawn. I ordered it from them and just assembled it and put it together. So yeah, Crimson Dawn, be sure to check them out. I will have a link to their store in the description of this video for you to check out and view for yourself, and maybe if you see a product that you like, buy a product from them. They even have dueling sets, so you can buy 2 basic lightsabers for like a slight discount instead of buying them individually, and you end up buying 2 of them. So that's pretty cool. So the next lightsaber reseller that I want to talk about is Dark Wolf Sabers. Now, Dark Wolf Sabers started off as an LGT reseller, but in the recent years, they started reselling lightsabers from other companies. So they still resell from LGT, but they just sell other sabers from other companies as well. That means that they have a huge variety. They don't just have LGT hilts, but they do not have TXQ hilts. They just have LGT and then other companies, such as an Australian company called All Sabers, where they have an Arkin hilt, which is also pretty dope. And again, with that huge variety, you should be able to find a lightsaber that you like. So if you were a Star Wars Visions fan and you liked the first episode in the first season with that samurai looking guy, his lightsaber is on Dark Wolf, which LGT does not sell, and it's a sick hilt. I personally have not bought from Dark Wolf Sabers. I can say that honestly, I have never bought from them. I have thought about it many times, but I have never bought from them. But I have heard many good things, and I've seen their products and what they were priced at. And I feel like they're not bad priced. And so I feel comfortable saying that they're pretty trustworthy. Maybe just check out the store and just see for yourself whether you like them or not. I mean, they have a huge variety. So if you like some niche hilts, check out their store and see if they have it. Look at the price and decide whether you'd pay that amount or do you think it's overpriced. And also make sure to do your research. Now, the final American company that resells lightsabers that I want to talk about is going to be a TXQ reseller, because I haven't talked about a TXQ reseller yet. And it's going to be CC Sabers. Now, CC Sabers, they also make their own lightsabers. So they have TXQ lightsabers up for sale. And they also have their own. They even have a Jedi Temple Guard lightsaber that looks pretty sick. But I have also never bought from CC Sabers, so I'm not too familiar with this company. On their store, they also became one of the rare companies to be partnered with 89 Sabers. Now, 89 Sabers is one of those companies that I would consider high-end. High-end being other companies like Corband or KR Sabers, which is where this lightsaber even came from, my Darth Maul. 89 Sabers is one of those high-end lightsaber makers. Not only do they have like the cheap baselit lightsabers, they even have the high-end 89 Sabers products, which I believe are not baselit hilts. These are NeoPixel hilts or empty hilts. Just in case later down the road you want to collect more lightsabers, 89 Sabers is a good company to buy from if you want the most accurate hilts that you can get, because LGT and TXQ do make good hilts, but some of their hilts aren't completely screen accurate, or maybe they're colored differently or the buttons a different size, but they're still relatively really good. From what I've heard, they're a great company, and of course they're partnered with 89 Sabers, and if they're partnered with 89 Sabers, I feel comfort knowing that they're probably a good company. Now we're going to move on to other companies that are not in America, mainly in Europe. And I'm only going to talk about these two companies because I'm not going to list all the companies I can think of. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk about companies like Saber Trio because they do sell baselit lightsabers, but there's too much to talk about when it comes to them. They're great. There's nothing wrong with them, but it's just... I want to find companies that are very, I'm going to say beginner friendly. And Saber Trio, I feel like they're the more hardcore fans. Or maybe Electrum Sabers if you're into Electrum Sabers or if you've heard of them. I'm not really going to talk about them. But I'm going to now talk about Padawan Outpost. Now, Padawan Outpost is an LGT reseller based in the United Kingdom. They started selling higher end lightsabers as well, and they're also partnered up with 89 Sabers and KR Sabers. So, like I mentioned, 89 Sabers, high end. This is a KR Sabers hilt. It feels amazing. It's an empty hilt, but you can tell that it was made with the utmost precision and care, and I love this hilt so much. Padawan Outpost is not a company that I have personally bought from. However, there was a point in time where I almost bought a product from them. They have a clearance section, by the way, and I was going to buy a saber in their clearance section because it was going to be a pretty expensive hilt. But it was at a discounted price because there's a scratch, I think, that was on the side of the hilt. It was a Mace Windu XenoPixel lightsaber. I believe it was an LGT hilt. as well. When I inquired about what was wrong with it because I didn't see any images of the scratches, the owners actually sent me a video on my email showing me the scratch, but then they also showed them cleaning it and the scratch went away, and they were still willing to sell it at that price. Unfortunately, I did not buy it, and someone else bought it before I could even think about maybe buying it, and like mentally preparing myself for spending that money on that hilt. Someone else bought it, and so they bought a discounted saber that was pretty much brand new, where that scratch is no longer visible. You couldn't even tell it was there. And they even upgraded the chassis. So if you unscrewed the hilt and looked at the electronics on the inside, it was an upgraded chassis. So they got a steal. And I'm so upset that I passed that opportunity. But you know, I hope that they're treating that hilt well, because I wish I could have had it. The point of me telling that experience is because for a company that saw my question and concern about the damage on the hilt and why it was discounted, instead of just typing an answer saying, oh, there's a scratch on the side, they didn't even just send like a quick picture like up close, like, oh, the scratch looks like this. They sent a full video and then cleaned it, and then even showed that when they cleaned it, the scratch is gone. And for them to do that really shows that they care about their customers. I follow them on Instagram, and when they post, like the actual owners like post things about themselves and they talk about the company and like their customers, they really do seem like they care, and they seem very nice, and they seem very trustworthy. And so that alone, to me, I feel comfortable for sure letting you know that they are trustworthy. So Padawan Outpost, if you're in the United Kingdom area, or if you're close by in Europe, maybe you're in Italy, try Padawan Outpost. They're a pretty good company. They have a huge variety of hilts as well. The next store that I'm going to talk about is Lightsabers. Now, Lightsabers, I have reviewed a lightsaber from on this channel before. Lightsabers was the first company I have ever bought a lightsaber from. I have bought my Darth Nihilus hilt, which is out of shot, but it's sitting on this bookshelf at the top shelf. I have bought that, and of course my two baselit lightsabers were originally from Lightsabers. I have those. I still have my carrying case, which my Darth Nihilus hilt came in, and I store my extra blades and like other stuff in, so if I need to bring it on the go, it's already ready to go. Lightsabers I am affiliated with, and of course if you use my discount code BDelansky at checkout, you can get 5% off of your entire order. So if you pay $100, you can get $5 off. If you pay $200, you can get $10 off, and so on. You can get a pretty decent discount at Lightsabers. Even though I am affiliated, don't think that I'm being super biased or I am falsely promoting or lying when I say that Lightsabers is a good company. They sell LGT hilts and TXQ hilts, and recently, as in like less than a year ago, they started selling legacy boxes. I believe these legacy boxes that Lightsabers has are TXQ hilts, and they pretty much just bundle them together and they call it the like Darth Revan legacy box, where they have both Revan hilts, the Sith and redeemed hilt, bundled together in a box with display plaques and a display stand with gloves and of course blades for each of them. And that's honestly a pretty cool thing that they're bundling lightsabers based off of the character, which I'm a big fan of. I have not owned a legacy box. I would love to, but they cost so much. Their cheapest legacy box is, I believe, the Revan one. However, I already have the Revan hilts, but they're made by LGT, so I don't need another set of Revan hilts. Lightsabers, they're amazing. Again, be sure to check them out, and if you do choose to order, use my discount code. Again, all of the stores that I mentioned within this video, I will have a link down below for you to check out. and look at their store and look at their products. Those are all of the resellers that I'm going to at least talk with in this video. Basic lightsabers are amazing lightsabers, and they're great for those that are wanting to get into lightsaber collecting, or even live out your fantasy of maybe you saw Revenge of the Sith and you saw Obi-Wan versus Anakin and you thought that lightsaber duel looked so sick and you want to recreate it with your friend or family, cousin, sister, brother, neighbor maybe. If you want to have those lightsaber duels, or maybe you saw a YouTube short or TikTok of someone spinning a lightsaber and you thought, I want to do that. That looks so cool. Basic lightsabers are pretty much amazing for those things. Lightsaber collecting can be very tricky because many people are being scammed. Just because you see an advertisement for a lightsaber that looks cool to you does not mean that you can just trust them and just buy it immediately, okay? If you see an advertisement, do your research. Do not just buy it as soon as you see it. When you do your research on a lightsaber company, you can try looking at websites like Reddit. You can go to r/lightsabers on Reddit and you can find questions that have already been asked and see if you can get an answer from them. There are several helpful people on that Reddit that can help you. Just give it time and just wait for them to answer, or just look through again the past Reddit threads and see if it was already asked. So yeah, be sure to check out r/lightsabers on Reddit and find those real consumer feedback on Reddit and decide for yourself whether a company is good or not. You will also find some people showing off their own lightsaber designs, and so you can even look at that. And so if you want to make your own hilts or make your own lightsabers, you can do that. I honestly and genuinely hope that this video reaches someone new that is wanting to buy lightsabers and doesn't know where to start. And I know this video is super long and I am sorry. I know it's a little discouraging to click on when you see this long of a video, but I wanted to make sure I could pack this video with as much information that's super genuine and has all of my truth and opinions within this video to really inform you on this hobby. And I hope that you found this video helpful and you've learned something from it, whether that be a company that you want to check out or what's a baselit lightsaber and stuff like that. And if it has helped you, make sure to let me know in the comments. It doesn't matter what day that I see this in, like a year from now. If it's helped someone a year from now, 2 years from now, and I see a comment saying that this video has really helped them understand basic lightsabers, it will brighten my day so quickly because at least I know that this video has actually done something. That is going to be all for this video. If you found the video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel for more future content. I promise my channel isn't just talking about lightsabers. I do some cool things every now and then, like review lightsabers. Also, comment down below any of your favorite lightsaber companies to buy lightsabers from, or mainly baselit lightsabers. If you have other suggestions that I did not mention in the video, make sure to comment that. But yeah, that is going to be all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.